Good morning, everyone. It's 7 a.m. Welcome. Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. John Henry Soto here. Welcome to the show this morning that I titled 7 a.m. because it's at 7 a.m., which just further confirms my brilliance. It is March 16th, 2021, and had a good day yesterday. Did some more promos for that series that I'm helping out. Well, I'm working for, not just helping out. For the studio, L&I Studios. The project is called L&I Sessions, where we're bringing in bands um, right now from everywhere to basically do a live stream concert. And the way it's been set up in the studio is that he has four cameras going. So there's a camera for the drummer, there's a camera for anyone on the side, obviously a center camera for the full band, and then there's another one that I can't remember where it was, and he triggers all these cameras sort of like a producer does, or a TV show person cues different cameras and so I've been doing the interviews of the bands and then watching them perform, and then another band comes in, I interview them and then watch them perform. So yesterday we did some promo pieces, just hey, coming up next week, that kind of stuff. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. He's got some really great he's got a great space and some great ideas. And so yeah, he asked me to be part of this, and it's been very it's been a lot of fun. Hold on, I got that. Get rid of this thing. All right, get a little thing on my green screen when you're a solo person, pretty much on everything that I do. It becomes a little challenging sometimes technically. I don't have somebody that can just correct all these things. But anyway, so yeah, so that was part of the my day last night. Spent a few hours there. It was really a lot of fun, and that will air on Saturday. I'm gonna actually put a link to that on my website. So if you do visit my website, which is just my name, johnhenrysoto.com, you'll be able to catch the show. I am going to get a copy of it afterwards that I'm going to probably upload somewhere too, just so you can see the show. These two bands were a ska band, um, which I don't know a lot about ska music other than the popular ones. I guess Blink 182 and can't remember the other guys that I can't remember, um, but yeah, they were really fantastic. I mean, as far as musicianship and energy level, they all were really great. So it was a lot of fun hearing live music. Was just a blast, and it's mixed really well. It's in a recording studio, so you're not just getting a stage mix; you're getting a professionally, balanced mix that's coming right through the live stream. So, I mean, if any bands out there are interested in that, definitely and you can reach out to me, obviously, always message me, or you can email me at johnhenrysoto at protonmail.com, and I'll get you in contact with Igor Martinez, who's the owner of the studio, L&I Studios, here in Bayonne, New Jersey. And the project is called L&I Sessions, and I'm very excited to be part of it. All right. Well, I guess today it kind of ties into that. That was something that I did, that I'm doing, including all the other things that I do. And sometimes I'll get into conversations with people, and it's really difficult when people say, "So, what are you working on?" And I'm usually, "Well, I got finishing up a film, I'm writing some songs, and I'm working on this project. I'm homeschooling my kids, um, trying to spend time with my wife, trying to do all these things." And and sometimes they'll look at you, man, you're doing too much. You're You're spreading. I think you're spreading yourself too thin. That's the one of the expressions that I really hate. You're spreading yourself too thin. I mean, that just means that you're just you, you're the substance that you are is just becoming so thin that it's not going to be tasty or something, you know. And I used to understand it, and I used to kind of go along with those things. I think because it was more of a social thing. I don't think people mean it like they don't want you to create. I think they mean it because I think you're doing too much, and they and in their reality, it's too much for them. So they're putting on their views or their viewpoint. They're trying to push those on you, um, and that's where it gets a little tricky when you're trying to when you're on a journey and you're constantly hit with that type of communication, right? People just constantly trying to tell you, you know what, you're doing too much. You should slow down, take it easy, relax, take some time for yourself, take care of yourself. Why don't you go out, just have a cup of tea and sit down, don't do anything. They don't realize that I do that. I do take time for myself. I do have this morning time that I spent here with you it's for me, it's so much fun. I love this. This is a relaxation for me. I have my coffee here. I'm nice and warm. I wear this out here because this part of the house is a little cold. But I love doing this, and this is part of what I'm about. So you have to take those comments or concerns with a grain of salt and not put any value on them, because it's really your reality at the end of the day on what it is you can accomplish and how far you can go and what you want, how much work you want to put in towards something, right? I think that's really the bottom line. It's whatever you put in is what you get out. And I look at a lot of the things that I'm currently working on right now, and they have been because I've just put out so much energy and so much content and so much um, social media, especially. I just put out a lot of information, a lot of content that I was able to pull in a lot of these people. I met Igor Martinez, and I saw an email yesterday. I was looking for uh, an email for him while we were talking on something, and it was from 2013 that I. So obviously, I had communicated with him in 2013 already, um, and just on and off conversations. And then I started rehearsing there with a musician friend of mine, putting some music together. Um, and he was also a guest on my show, the JHS show that I did last year. I did about 100 episodes of that, um, and it turned out he's a really really cool guy. He has a great space, and he asked me. Hey, maybe we can do something, or I also sat with him once and gave him a consultation on social media and creating content. He's not fully comfortable with creating the content and the mindset of having to consistently think of it, and I'm always thinking, I'm thinking of a photo of something so I could share later. I have, that mentality already kind of built in now, where everything is a piece of content, and so it makes it look like I'm constantly just working. And it's not the case. It's just that I put content together with the idea that I'm going to put it out at some point, whether it be a personal thing on my views on the world, whether it be a little a political dig of some sort, whether it's a controversial thing like what's happening right now with the Dr. Seuss books and the ridiculous Grammys, the basically the porn on on screen. I comment about that. I comment about the films that I'm working on, any music that I'm doing, my live streaming stuff, and my new show Counterparts, with George Batista, a Star Trek driven show, taking Star Trek and comparing it and combining it to the world things and to everyday stuff, and dissecting it and talking about film directors. I'm really excited about that project, and that's tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If anyone's interested in tuning in, you can tune in right here where you're watching these shows, this show. So that it looks like it's a lot of stuff, but it's broken down in a way that I can balance it with having my wife and having the kids and the homeschooling program that we're in, um, and being able to do my courses, which I study for my church, doing reading on my own. I like reading. I was reading this book, and this is what actually kind of drove me to this topic today was this book called The Problems of Work. Some great tools in here to operate if you're having any difficulty in the workaday world. Um, you can get that anywhere where books are sold. Um, and I was reading about the morale. When someone is producing, when they're producing something, the morale is higher, which is why a lot of people that don't produce are not doing well. And I don't want to go into the whole controversy now, but if you're growing up, and this is not even controversial, this is my reality, this is how I grew up, so this is my viewpoint on things I experienced growing up, right? It's not just a hearsay thing. But I remember growing up and we were on welfare, and I remember going to the welfare centers. And now remember, I'm aware enough at that point. I was not old, but I was aware enough. 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 to whatever, maybe 15 years old, on and off this system. Which, by the way, it does help people. You know what I mean? We were on it; it helped us. But there are people that are just depend on that welfare system. And what I noticed is that if you're being helped, then you would think gratitude would be your most um, important emotion that you'd be feeling while you're there, get, getting your funds that are going to help put food on the table for you and your family. This is what I'm thinking as a child. I was kind of a weird kid, but so and I would be sitting there and hear these people approach the window, where with the social worker, these poor social workers that had to work that are still there. In some of these locations, and we would have to just take the verbal abuse of these people that are demanding their money and cursing at them and saying, "Where is my effing money? Where is it? Where is it?" And just an incredible, um, just so ungrateful. Just an incredible display of how someone can be, their morale gets dropped to such a degree because they're not producing anything, and production is the basis for morale. And when you're producing something, and you can read all about that in this book as well, when you're producing something, your morale gets higher. It's why when a little kid you're trying to clean the house and a little kid wants to help, right? He's like, I want to help. And when sometimes adults, I don't do this, and we don't, because I read things, but sometimes adults will be like, no, no, leave me alone. I don't want you doing this. You're too small. You're too small. You can't, and the kid, feels like now he's incapable. He's not, doesn't have that ability. And, you've taken away his desire to want to produce something, to want to be productive, and so his morale is going to go down. So what I'll do is I'll have a little broom on the side, or we have a little sweeper. I say, here, I want to sweep it here, and when I get over here, you just sweep that. And he makes a mess. So did my daughter. They put it in, they make a huge mess, but they're trying, and they're doing, and they're producing, and they feel better. And to be honest, they actually get tired a lot faster than if they were just they get tired and they're like, okay, I'm done. They get very used to the idea that, oh wait, this is work that maybe I don't like this. um, but you let them actually produce, and you see them go up in morale. You see them actually be happy helping mommy or daddy do the housework. And that's a really valuable lesson that somebody can learn from watching these kids want to help and not be allowed to help. And in the inner city when I was growing up, there were no jobs really for a lot of they had the summer job program that if you were lucky enough, And if you had the right paperwork, which for some reason we never really had the right paperwork, birth certificate, you had to have all these things, and we just never could get it done. So I never did the summer jobs. But there were some summer jobs that some kids can get, but the lines would be huge. These kids want to produce, I mean, people in general want to produce, and the idea that we're producing at a high level and someone is trying to make you produce at a lesser level is sort of a, maybe it's unintentional, but it's sort of a suppressive act. And it may be a reflection of what they're doing. Maybe they don't feel like they feel like they should be doing more, but they're not. So why are you doing more? Can you kind of tone it down so I don't feel so bad about myself? Can you do that, please, sir? Can you stop producing so much stuff? Um, and I think that is a dangerous thing if you do go along with it. If you actually go into an agreement with that viewpoint, it can really damage not only your career, your future, but your family's future as well, because it's all tied in, right? Remember, I talked about the eight dynamics, right? And how it all connects to one another, right? And the second dynamic is the family unit. So if the first dynamic and you're producing, the first dynamic is you, yourself, the individual. If you're producing at a high level and you're feeling great, and your family is going to be feeling great too, because you're part of that dynamic, and then you go to work, you go to your job, and you're producing and you feel good. The job's going to benefit from your efforts, and you're going to be proud to be doing the work. Fourth dynamic, it's mankind, and it moves on to fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, and all these dynamics work together, and so if you're producing, they all do really, really well, and you will make more money too. It's like you will actually produce, um and you also get better at producing better content and better quality work, right? The I worked in unions as well. I was a union worker for a couple of times, I think twice, I think. um, One job that I had for a few years, I think about almost 7 years, and that's where I met my wife. Um, and then another job where I think I worked for just about a year or two. But what I've noticed in the union environment, and don't get me wrong, I love unions, and I think unions are important to protect the workers, and so businesses and companies don't take advantage of any of the workers. I think they are important, but there are certain things that fall through the cracks, as far as the some of the workers that get very complacent on a job. Their job says, all I do is operate the elevator. And there was a guy who made I think his salary was 75,000 a year, and he was operating an elevator, and he had been doing it for like 12 years at that point. Not an old guy either, he was a young guy. And he had already been there 12 years. So he had a newspaper, he had a little table in the elevator, he had a newspaper, he had a little radio thing, and he had a chair in the elevator. And it's kind of, it was a freight elevator, back of this huge building. And he would just sit there all day, and he wouldn't even open the gate. Sometimes, he would, I think a couple of times he just would let other people open it, and then he would just sit there. They would load their stuff in, and he would just, you know, and so I mean, yes, he is producing, but he didn't seem happy. He was not. He was reading his paper. He was sort of almost like in a coma in a sense. He really was not. And I think that you can get yourself into a state of uh, depression, by constantly producing lower and lower and trying to produce less. I have also friends that I've heard, this is through my travels. I remember them saying, trying to do less work at the job. Yeah, I don't want to have to get up and go over there, so this way it's easier. They bring it to me, and and I'll, or I don't want to have to do this. I don't want. It was always trying to cut corners. And these are people that were always struggling for money too. People that were spending their money on going out on weekends and drinking, and then having to live with their parents and stuff like that. Um, again, everyone has their own uh, demons in the closet, right? And they have their own things that they have to resolve. I don't know what a person goes through or has been through, so I'm not judging their past. I'm judging what I see. I'm judging uh, the actual thing that I see, what I witness and experience. Right, that's all I can really judge. And from what I witnessed, it seems that a lot of the people that are trying to produce less are unhappy. They're not really happy. When you're producing a lot, even if it's hired, and we get it. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes I'm just like, man, I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to. I get up at 6:30 to do this show. I get my coffee. I get my stuff for my material that I'm going to talk about. I try to get my head wrapped around the conversation, see if I can say anything that's hopefully going to help somebody. And it's 5 days a week, and then I do another show on Sundays with my wife, and then tonight I have another show with. And you may look at it and you're like, oh my god, that seems like so much. And if you're not organized, it can be. But if you're also happy doing it, if you're producing at a high level because you're happy with it, then you don't feel, every once in a while I do feel tired. And, I think on Sunday I slept in, I slept a lot on Sunday because I had 2 weeks because I had a film shoot that I had to get up really early for in the midst of this show. So it was 2 weeks, it was 1 week of this, one weekend of waking up really early, and then 1 week of this. So by the time I reached that Sunday, I was like, I'm going to sleep my ass off. And I did. And I slept and I got some nice rest. But it's really hard to sleep sometimes too, because you're excited about stuff and you have things that you want to do and answer. So that's another thing, is that I really enjoy doing all this and putting myself in the situations that doing things that I love. So the moral of the story is really produce at the level that makes you happy, and produce the things that make you happy. Do the things that you love, produce towards them. Now, you may have to have a job that produces the income, but then do that job well. Dive into that job because it'll produce more income. Trust me, it will. It definitely 100% will produce more income if you just dive into the current job that you have to pay the bills. When you get off of work at 5, 6, 7 o'clock, whatever it is, you have a couple of hours at night where you can sit and get on your phone and put some content out there for your business. If you're building a business, if you're looking for a business to get involved in, you can do the research at night. If you just want to learn how to make more money, you can do that. If you want to do a course, a class, whatever it is, it's all about production, and it's all about wanting to be a better person and be able to serve others better. When you do that, the world will become a better place. Guaranteed. I guarantee. I don't know if you guys remember the K-On chef from channel PBS, from PBS anyway. He used to say, I guarantee. And he would make these amazing meals. But anyway, so I will guarantee that things will be much, much better when you do that. Produce high, baby. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Until then, do the things that you love. Make today great. Take care of yourselves. God bless. And I'll see you tomorrow. And as always,